Hi, welcome to the Celtic Cast On podcast. My name is Kelly and I'm coming to you from the beautiful east coast of Canada, and we are actually getting very ready for winter right now. Since I last spoke to you, probably in the last 3 days, the temperatures have really taken a dip. We're in the minuses overnight now. It was -8 the other night, which was really chilly when I was taking the dog for a walk. So we're adjusting to the colder weather. We've had a beautiful fall, a very mild fall, so we're not used to these temperatures yet, so we need to get some thick skin before winter arrives. A lot has happened since I last spoke to you, and I'm going to try and juggle it all together into one podcast. I have a special guest for the podcast today, and it is Marce from HeyBrownBerry. And since it's sweater season, sweater weather, I thought we could talk sweaters today. So I hope you enjoy this little ramble about us chatting about sweaters. And I think for true sweater knitters, you can talk about sweater knitting at any time, and that rings through with Marce too. So I hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you on the other side. So today I have Marce with me from the HeyBrownBerry podcast. Want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Hello, all of Kelly's friends and fans. This is Marce. I'm from the HeyBrownBerry podcast, and I'm also known as HeyBrownBerry on Instagram and Ravelry. It's nice to be here.
So I have Marce with me today because we're going to talk sweaters. And you can't talk sweaters properly without a friend to talk sweaters with.
This is true.
So Marce is going to join me, and we're going to chat sweaters. So
yeah, grab a cuppa and let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought that sweaters were a worthy topic for an episode because it seems to be all we think about and talk about lately. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but Kelly is a good sweater knitting buddy. So I was very happy to get on and chat about it, and we are both knitting sweaters right now, so it's appropriate. The only weird thing, I guess, is that you're in New Brunswick, where sweaters are completely appropriate, and I'm in Florida, where I just pretend they're appropriate. And I knit them anyway. Because knitting.
Yes, and I think this time of year, pretty much everybody who knits sweaters is knitting a sweater, so it's a good time to give some people some inspiration and maybe see patterns that they haven't seen before.
Yes, I love that idea. This is totally a maker's season.
Can you hear that banging?
Someone's busy at work, hard at work.
Right there. Is that going to be annoying?
It doesn't bother me if it doesn't bother you.
Okay. All right, show me your whip, Marce. They pretty much know what I'm knitting, but I'll show it after yours.
Okay, I'll go first. All right, so my current sweater, work in progress, is the Georgetown cardigan by Fettig. And I have what looks nothing like a sweater at this point.
Thanks.
I've got 2 sleeves on the go.
Oh, you're knitting them both at the same time?
Yes, I'm knitting both sleeves at the same time on 24-inch Knit Picks fixed circulars. So this pattern by Fettig is one that I've wanted to knit for a long time. I started it a few days ago in this yarn, which I'll show you guys the yarn in a second. I started it with the sleeves because if you've knit a sweater before, you know that the sleeves can be the things that make or break a sweater project. And I got a great tip from Kelly months ago that sometimes if you start with the sleeves, the rest of the sweater seems a breeze. So the beauty of this pattern, I'm new to Hannah's patterns, but the beauty of it is you have the option to knit the sweater in pieces or in the round. And I chose to knit it in pieces and to seam it because I want this sweater to be very wearable and last a really long time. And I'm told by those who know that seamed sweaters tend to hold their structure and hold up longer. So I'm knitting everything in pieces. This is the back side of the sleeves. It's stockinette, so of course it rolls in a bit. But I'm going to do some mattress stitch. I'm actually on the beginning part of the sleeve cap right now. And the only modification I've made so far is The cuff is just a 1x1 rib, and I've knit it a little bit longer than called for in the pattern.
Okay.
So the yarn I'm using is a Cascade. It's the alpaca, the Lana Doro. This is kind of new for me too. I paid a lot of attention this time, thanks to your advice, to the kind of yarn that was used in the pattern example, which was a wool alpaca blend. And in the past, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to that for things like shawls, because I just knit with what I like, and it doesn't usually matter, but I wanted the same kind of drape and look of this cardigan. So I also picked a wool alpaca blend. So this is, it's 50-50, 50% superfine alpaca, 50% Peruvian Highland wool. And I tried to be a good sweater knitter, and I swatched. Yay! So I used the recommended needle for my swatch, and I washed it and I blocked it, things I never do. That's how much the sweater means to me. I even got this little tip from someone on Instagram who puts like pearl bumps into the stockinette fabric of her swatch in the number that matches the needle. So I have 6 little pearl bumps to remind me that this swatch was knit on a US 6, which is a 4.5 millimeter needle. I thought that was a cool little thing for remembering another time, you know, what this yarn looks like on a size 6.
Yeah, I have heard of that before, but I forgot all about it. So that's a good tip.
Yeah, and it's helpful. I don't know if I'm playing yarn chicken, this swatch will be a thing of the past, but if I keep it, it'll be good to know. This actually turned out to be a bit of a looser gauge. I don't know if you guys can really see well, but it's a little bit more airy than I wanted for this cardigan. Mm-hmm. So I went down a needle size and was able to get gauge.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a nice yarn. I'm really enjoying knitting with it. I feel like I'm zooming along on the sleeves.
Excellent.
What are you working on, Lovey?
So I have my Skogafjall.
Yes.
Something along.
Don't bite your tongue.
And I just actually started the color work.
Oh,
I got like one line done, so there's nothing to see,
but you can see the contrast already.
Yeah, I joined the sleeves.
Oh my goodness! How exciting!
I just started my little piece.
I love it.
Stitches.
A paler green. It's coming through as a dark green and a paler green.
Yes, let me show you.
Great together.
So this is the main body, and this is the lighter one, and then the top of it is done with the pale gray.
Gorgeous together already. Yeah,
that's the colors that it is in the pattern. I didn't change that at all because I really liked what they did. So I just went with it.
I think they look great together. Are you enjoying it now in the hand, actually working with it?
Yes, it's a little splitty, I must say. It's only like a 1 ply. You can see it's just twisted around.
Oh, yes.
But I find I keep going into the middle of it by accident. Like if I'm not watching my knitting, I go into it, and then I realize I've only got part of a stitch, like down.
Oh, goodness.
So I have to go down and pick it back up again. But
gotcha.
It's going to be nice and warm. It's very, I was going to say prickly, but not prickly. It's soft, but it's got that definite guard hair on it.
Mm.
So
it's going to bother you, you know, around the neck area or anything? Is it that toothy?
Well, my Mazzy cardigan that I knit that was 50-50 alpaca and wool, I found that really itchy when I first started to wear it, but I got used to it, and after that it was fine.
Oh, good.
So I'm thinking this is going to be the same thing, that I just going to have to get used to it, and then once I'm used to it, it won't bother me.
I hope so. And probably just being up against the skin for a while, hopefully it sort of calms down the actual fabric.
Well, and if you're like me and in the wintertime, you wear layer upon layer upon layer before your sweater. So there's not going to be much skin touching it anyway.
Genius.
Yes.
It looks great. The color, I think, is going to be so nice on you.
Yeah, I love it.
You've done a lot. That's awesome.
Yes, I feel like I've been knitting on it forever. I know I haven't, but I just felt like, I think I was maybe here before the weekend on the body.
Yeah.
And I
Wow.
it was just like, I need to get this done. I need to get this done.
Yeah. So yours, the construction of yours is bottom up
Yes.
for the body. And then did you knit the sleeves first on yours, or did you knit them and then join them?
I knit them first.
Yep.
Knit each one first.
No.
That's the way to do it.
It does make a difference, I think. And even if it's just your perception that the time is less, either way, you're getting to a sweater.
You're still excited about it when you're knitting the sleeves, right? So you go through them really fast because you want to get to the body.
Right, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Put all that energy up front. What needle size are you using?
It actually switches. The main body is a 5.0 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
The cuff was 4.5 or 4.25, and then once you get to the color work, you change to 5.5.
Okay.
High now.
That is nice. Yeah, nice big needles. It's probably going to help keep the color work even, not too tight.
Yeah.
Nice work, lady.
Thank you.
Does swatching count as a whip?
Sure.
I mean, it's a work in progress Yeah. I'm just knitting as we're chatting. If you guys see me glance down, I'm working on a swatch for another sweater that we can talk about later in like dream knitting. What's you?
Sure.
So as we're talking about sweaters, Kelly came up with a great idea how to bring all of the sweater loving knitters together. You want to tell them about it?
So we had a plan that we're going to have a knit along. Since everybody is guaranteed to be knitting a sweater at some point during the next couple of months, we figured why not have a knit along and put in for some prizes and have some fun knitting sweaters together. It's also a great inspiration to others, not just to see what sweaters you're knitting, but to see patterns that you've never seen before and yarns that you've never used before.
Totally.
See how they're playing together. So we're gonna have it in along, and the hashtag is gonna be knit any sweater KAL.
Yeah. Knit any sweater KAL. I love it. That shows everybody how open it is. Like, we genuinely mean, if you're working on a sweater, join us.
Whips count, new cast-ons, whatever. Just join in, and we're going to put it in my podcast group on Ravelry. I'll start a thread there, and you can chat about what sweaters you're knitting, and we can oogle over them and
Yeah.
choices.
I do love doing that, but it's dangerous for my queue.
But it's just a queue.
It's just a queue.
Why, Marce? Why is it just a queue?
What's going
on right now, Marce?
Well, because I have sweaters in progress, and we have agreed together to just knit from our stash and not buy any new yarn. And I have sweaters cast on with yarn from my stash, so I don't need any new projects.
That's right. So we have this agreement that there will be no more purchasing of yarn until after my birthday, which is the end of February.
Yep. Next year, just for those of you who are counting.
So I'm pretty good. I don't know. I need to crack the whip on Marce a little bit to keep her in
line. She does, only because I'm not yet at the point where I've gotten over wanting to get new yarn. I haven't actually gotten any new yarn since we made our agreement, but the pull is strong.
That was in the summer.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so it's been a few months, and we have a few months to go, and I'm feeling pretty strong now that I have projects on the needles. Mm-hmm. The pull is not as strong to get new yarn, because then I'll just want to think about that, and the sweater will never get done. So
yes,
I'm glad we're doing it. End of February will be here in no time.
You'll be like purchasing all the things in February, and I'll be like, I'm still knitting from stash.
Heads up to all you wool people out there. Yeah, I think it's great because I didn't realize that I actually had a good number of sweater quantities, because there was a time when I was buying a lot of single skeins, maybe like some of you out there. I thought, my stash is just full of onesie twosies. But when I spent time actually matching patterns and yarns, I have a good number of projects to keep me going for a while. What about you?
And your yarns are like, yeah.
I'm lucky that I I'm lucky that I found dyers and farm people that I love and that are making all the colors that I want.
Yes.
How about you? Do you think you're set for a while?
Oh yeah, there's no issue whatsoever. I've got sweaters that I have been meaning to knit for like years.
Yeah.
They're just in the stash, ready to be knit. So it's just a matter of keeping your eye on the prize and not going on to Ravelry and oogling over millions of sweaters. So
that's true. That's usually where it starts for me. I was actually just watching, I was studying up before we recorded together. You guys should check out Kelly's episode 6, which is called Sweater Talk, where she's got a friend on there visiting, Sarah, and they're chatting sweaters. Hi, Sarah. And you were knitting Mazzy back then, which is the cardigan that I knit after seeing the pattern and after seeing the pictures of yours. Love that cardigan. That's by Elizabeth Smith, right?
Yes, the brown stitch.
Yeah, I think that's where my whole sweater love started, quite honestly.
That is my most worn cardigan, for sure, like 100%.
I believe.
I could wear that every day.
It's a great pattern. It's a great knit. I actually gifted mine to my mother-in-law, and I really, truly can't wait to make one for myself. So if any of you have knit Mazzy or are considering it, maybe for the knit along, check it out. It's just doing a little quick plug, but I was watching the episode where you knit that, and it was just so much fun to watch you guys talking about sweater knitting, but I think that's where I caught the bug initially. So out of the sock phase into the sweaters.
That's right. So this knit along is going to start October 31st, and we're going to go to January 31st. So you have a long time to knit your sweater, work on probably multiple whips if you have sweaters in the process.
That's a good idea.
I have one prize so far.
Yeah.
So I'm giving away this, which is the Return book by Jane Richmond and Shannon Cook. This was sent to me by the girls, the ladies. It was actually sent to me last year, but I've been hanging on to it because I wanted to do a sweater knit along and I wanted this to be the prize. So this book, I'm sure everybody knows about it already, but it has 6 patterns in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you the page here.
I've got that one too, and it is a beautiful book.
It is. I kind of don't want to give it away because the book is so beautiful, but I'm like, I have the ebook. It's fine. I have the patterns.
No.
It's a good table book.
That's how much we like you guys.
Yeah. So it's got cardigan. It's got 6 patterns: a hat, mittens, a shawl, a scarf, and the sweater fireside, which I test knit.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's a beautiful one too. I think that's another very wearable, like wardrobe staple kind of sweater.
It is. It's a yummy one for winter. It's got a big shawl collar on it, and it is so nice and warm.
Cool. A lot of people have knit this, and I can see why.
Yeah. And it's Cascade Eco, so it knits up really quickly too.
Oh yeah, that's a plump yarn. I've worked with that. Cascade Eco wool is nice.
So the other one that I wanted to knit out of this is actually the shawl, the Hudson shawl. That's in Cascade Eco as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
The Hudson shawl is that big squishy triangular one, right? Oh, beautiful.
The Hudson Bay blanket with all the different stripes. But it looks so like that's definite winter knit.
That's cozy. Oh, it's gorgeous. That's right up my alley. I'm pretty sure that one's done in a worsted weight.
Yeah, I think that's Cascade Eco too. It's like an Aran weight.
Oh, Aran, even better.
Yeah.
Squishier.
For sure.
Let me cast that one on.
Pardon me?
Let me know if you cast that one on.
Oh, yes. Well, right now we're knitting sweaters, Marce.
We're knitting sweaters. See? Do you see why she has to crack the whip? Focus. Got it.
She's pretty and she's all the way up. So that's going to be one prize, and I'm going to be working on some others. So if you would like to join in and possibly win this lovely book by Jane and Shannon, feel free.
And even as you guys are making plans or picking yarns, hashtag your photos, KnitanysweaterKAL. We'll be checking it out in the Ravelry group and on Instagram. It's really fun to plan together.
Absolutely. It's a little lonely in my group right now.
Come on out there, guys. I'll be over there chit-chatting about all the sweaters I want to knit. I love it. So what else? We talked about the book. We definitely chatted a little bit about Knit from the Stash, which is kind of connected to some of my dream knitting. Do you want to chat about that a bit?
Sure. Now, are we dream knitting or Q knitting? Like, do you have yarn set aside for this, or is this like I'm buying new yarn in February sweater dream knitting?
Do you see why she's my voice of reason? So I have both.
Okay.
I guess I'll start with Q knitting because I'm actually hoping to knit at least one more sweater before the yarn buying opens up again. I have plans to knit a colorwork sweater. So you were actually the person who got me interested in trying a colorwork yoke sweater in particular. You've knit some beautiful ones. You guys should check out Kelly's Ravelry project page. See? Tell us about that one. Which one is that one?
This is Sun Daughter by Brooklyn Tweed.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love that sweater.
Mm-hmm.
The high contrast in many of the yoke sweaters I've seen is what really draws me to want to make one. I think it just stands out so beautifully. So I want one. So in my queue, swatching on my needles, yarn at the ready is the Fern and Feather.
Oh, yes.
So I'll hold it up so you guys can see the yoke part of it. If you've seen my Instagram at HeyBrownBerry, you'll know I love ferns. I have a lot of ferns around my house. I love feathers. I like to draw them. The name alone would have had me, but the style, let's see if I can find another picture. Here we go. The style is just so, it looks easy to wear.
Yes.
Just a nice.
It's not super tight too.
Yes, actually the model is wearing it with 4 inches of positive ease. So it's meant to be a comfy pullover. There's a lot of good sizing options. This pattern is by Jennifer Steingass. It's a pretty well-known designer. And say that again?
Pretty prolific.
Yeah,
Yoke sweaters.
You know how when you get something like a new car or something like that, and all of a sudden you start noticing those types of cars on the road where before you didn't?
Yes.
So I hadn't really, before I started looking at knitting more sweaters, I hadn't really seen much of her stuff. And now it's everywhere. But I'm sure it was everywhere before. It's just now paying attention.
She actually started designing, like she's been knitting yoke sweaters for a long time, but I think she actually started designing last winter or last fall.
Okay, I don't feel so bad then.
Yeah. So she has maybe four to six designs that are out now, but they're all colorwork yokes and everyone's going gaga over them.
That must be why. So then I end up seeing it on Instagram and other places.
Yeah.
So I'm knitting this with a few other folks who are also sweater crazy as just like a mini knit along for our trip to Edinburgh Yarn Festival next year. So something about being in Scotland means I need a colorwork sweater.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be good and continue working on my other sweater. I'm going to continue working on, what is this one called? Georgetown. Sorry. But I am swatching because I desperately want to have this sweater done before March of next year. And here are my colors.
Ooh,
So
yes.
this brown will be the main body, and this silvery gray will be the contrast for the colorwork at the yoke. And these are 2 really precious yarns to me from my stash. I didn't have plans for them when I bought them, I'll admit, but they called to me after I saw the pattern. This one is Fern Fiber, and it's a Rommeldale, really sheepy, and it's made by our friend Maria from Ninja Chickens. She had this spun when they were selling yarn. She's in North Carolina, so I have a sweater quantity of this for the body. And then this yarn for contrast, this one is a Shetland from Wing and a Prayer Farm.
Tammy.
Yep, Tammy at Wing and a Prayer Farm has some of the nicest yarns. And what I love about both of these is that if you talk to these women, Tammy and Maria, they can tell you about these sheep, which I think is so cool. To be able to trace back your project to a specific farm and the actual sheep that was sheared to make this is great. So I'm really looking forward to it. it's also a nice heavier weight, so it should go pretty quickly. These are both DK weight yarns, and I'm hoping it'll fly. But I'm swatching to make sure. I'm a continental knitter, and I find that my gauge is usually much looser than called for in the pattern.
Right.
So if I want to be a sweater knitter, I got to swatch.
That's right.
That's my main Q knitting for right now. What about you? What are you looking at?
You know what? I don't have any set things. I've got a lot of yarn. I'll show you some of the things that I've been pondering over, but I don't have any pattern. I don't have anything like I'm going to knit this thing as soon as I get this sweater done.
Gotcha.
So in my line of work, I work in a school, and it's always 500 degrees in that school in the wintertime.
Wow.
So people run around in bare feet with slip-on shoes on and little t-shirts and stuff in the winter. And meanwhile, I'm like up to here in wool.
Right. Oh,
so I do it all day long. So I was trying to think of a layering piece that I could wear so I could take it off. Because if I wear a sweater, it's kind of annoying.
yeah.
So I'm thinking a cardigan. And I have had this yarn, which is ultra alpaca, the worsted weight, in a pinky magenta color. Now this, when I bought this, it was my color, but it's not so much my color anymore.
It looks like it's more like my color.
There you go. But I'm thinking if I pair it with a black shirt.
Oh yeah.
When I go shopping, I'm a clearance shopper.
Me too.
And on the clearance racks, my size is always there, but it's always in black.
Wow.
So all of these black shirts, and I'm like, I have no color. They're all black. And I love each one of them. They're all different, but they're all black.
Right.
So this would be something good that would go with a neutral color underneath.
Definitely.
And I thought of my original thought with this, and I actually started knitting it. Actually, I do still have it started knitting.
Oh, pretty.
It is from Coastal Knits. What's that cardigan?
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. I'd have to look at it though.
It's in the other room. It's
We'll put the name down there.
Yes. So that's what I have planned for it. And I'm thinking maybe that would be a quick knit because that's on 5.5s, I think. They're
oh my goodness.
And it's it's cables, but it's only a crossover once every so many rows.
Okay.
So I think it would be something that would knit up pretty quickly. So that's a possibility.
I like that you already have a plan for how you would use the sweater. I think that makes a difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Even the ones that are really pretty, if they don't fit your wardrobe or they don't fit how you will use them, I mean, that's a lot of time to spend.
Mm-hmm. So this is the second one, and this is also one that I have started, but I had so much on the go, I just ripped it and never got a chance to restart it again.
Gotcha.
And it's one of my favorites. It's Justyna Lorskowska of Letty's Knit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this sweater.
Oh, yes. I think we've chatted about this.
Probably, yes. So it's called, no, it's not called Threads, is it? Hang on, it's been so long since I've...
While you're looking at that, what I really like about some of the sweaters I've looked at from Justyna is how she mixes textures.
Justyna's pretty awesome. I would love to know how her mind works.
I know, it goes from lacy to smooth stockinette. I love it.
Yes. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's called Threads. I'm just looking it up here.
Okay. Take your time in watching, and I already know that these needles are going to be too big.
Oh, really?
Oh, the life of a loose knitter.
Oh.
Smaller needles, more knitting time. I got to think positive.
Yeah. Yes, it's called Threads. There's a front view.
Oh, I really like that. I actually like how that's styled in that photo.
Yes. So this is Madeline Tosh in, not industrial age, steam age.
Oh my goodness. That's got a lot of dimension to it.
It's gray, but it's got these pops of blue and pink in it.
I really like that.
Now, I got this when I went to Knit East, it would have been 4 years ago now because they have it every 2 years.
Yeah.
I was determined to do a sweater or something with it. So I have 3 of these, and I think that's enough to do the sweater.
As you're holding them up together, it comes across with just a very slight pinky purple tone, which I like.
Yes.
And you have 3 of those. I think that's plenty.
Yeah, I think so. So I just need to restart it. I did a little, this is my size swatch compared to yours.
I haven't always been a good swatcher. I think that's enough to measure though, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, but your swatches are like.
Thank you. I'm going to try to start good sweater habits. If I'm going to be into this sweater knitter gang, I got to do it right.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a good one. Do you feel like there's an order to which one will happen before the other?
I don't know. I kind of want to do, they're both on big needles, so they're both going to not take too long.
Yeah.
I think the cardigan would be a better choice to start with for a layering.
You can already plan to wear that. You can already think about wearing that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how you feel after the finished object fumes wear off from your beauty.
It's not like I don't have sweater whips already on the needles that I should be finishing first.
You know, there's this great knit along happening.
Yeah.
January 31st. You should probably get in on that. Whips are welcome, I'm told. I do have some dream knitting, which means I now know how long it takes to actually knit a sweater. So in my imagination, you know, I'll have 6 of them before the weather turns warm again. That's not going to happen. So I have to be careful and dream small. But I do want to make at least one more if I can. Hang on, I'm going to put down my swatch and I'm going to show you guys some yarn choices. So one of the other sweaters I'm looking at is, I'm going to pull up on Ravelry because I don't want to say the designer name wrong. One second, I'm looking at my queue. Do you guys go back to your queue very often? I've only recently started doing that. Do you do that, Kelly? Do you like check your queue, refresh it, reorder it?
My queue is completely gone, basically. When they brought in the favorites that you could add into bundles.
Oh, yeah.
I use. So I don't have a queue per se. I just add my favorites in. And then when I'm ready to knit a new sweater, I click on the sweater tab and look to see what I have or what I wanted to knit before and see what suits what I want to knit right now.
I like that. You know why I like that? Because that sounds like a lot less pressure than when I go look at my queue.
You've got 300 things, right?
I've narrowed it down recently. So I won't let myself go beyond 15, which for some people will maybe sound like a lot, and some people will be like, I passed a long time ago.
Yeah.
But for me now, when I go in there, I think that's 15 things that at some point I said, I'm going to make that. So I think your weight sounds like a little more pleasurable and not so much pressure.
Yeah, well, even with like kid knits and sweaters and summer knits, like it was just, I had a queue of 300 things.
Right.
I was like, I'm never going to knit all these, so why don't I order them into my favorites, and then I can choose from that what I'm going to knit.
Then you're just saying, I like these.
Exactly.
It could happen. I'm just going to reach so I can show you guys the pattern.
Sure.
It's the Basic Raglan by Locatelli.
Oh, yes.
So this sweater caught my eye, I'm going to be honest, because of how long the cuffs are and how simple it is.
Yeah.
It really, truly is a basic raglan. If any of you own this pattern, you know, it's a couple of pages worth of instruction. I think it's going to be a really good template sweater. So let's say I wanted to do a pullover and put cables on the sleeve, or I wanted to do a little bit of texture in the body. Now that I've read through the pattern, it feels like that kind of template I could use. But for now, my dream knitting is to just knit that pullover. And I'm going to start, the one for me will be in this color, which looks a little bit similar to the one you showed us.
Yes.
This is the fiber seed yarn. It's a DK weight. Yep. So it is definitely the plummy, purpley pink. It's a DK weight called Sprout DK from the fiber seed.
Okay.
This is my friend Lindsay, who lives here in Florida. She's a dyer. You can find her stuff, fiberseed.com. She has beautiful colors. And I picked this because it's a little bit tonal. So it actually has some dark purple if you look really close. And I really enjoy it. Similar to what you said earlier, when it comes to my knitwear, the stuff that I'm drawn to is gray, beige, brown. So I feel like this will be nice as a pullover, but I can wear it with jeans. I can wear it with a black skirt. So I intend to knit that basic raglan with this. And my way out dream thing is that I will make a second one for my daughter Adachi in this yarn. And I got this plucky yarn in an auction that Kelly did as a fundraiser, and I'm in love with it. It's purple, it's plump. It's the only plucky I own. I didn't know much about this before, but it's a merino nylon, really soft, squishy yarn. So I'm hoping that my oldest teen will get a sweater out of this if I act right. She likes that style as much as I do, and between the two of us, we decided which color would be better for each of us. So that's my imagine knitting.
So do you find, now this changes for me every year and every season, do you find you're drawn to a certain style right now or a certain technique?
Right now, yes, I do actually. And it is different from before. I am drawn to pullovers and anything long sleeve and with positive ease. Like I'm looking for comfy, throw it on. I think I'm going to love the Georgetown cardigan, but hanging around the house, it's cool when I wake up in the morning, I see myself throwing on a long sleeve pullover. Mm-hmm. Going out, maybe even dressing up a little bit, I could see myself wearing the Georgetown. But comfort knitting for me right now is long sleeve and pullover. What about you?
I used to knit things very fitted, and I can't stand having fitted tight things on me anymore. So I'm very much positive ease. Like my son-daughter sweater is perfect.
Yeah.
Everything about it is perfect. If I could recreate it in different colors, I would.
You could.
So
at least one minute.
Positive ease in color work, and then positive ease cardigans. I mean,
yeah. Shawl collars. Yes. I think those look great. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh, that looks so cozy.
Yeah.
So I'm into that. I think, if you're going to spend, again, so much time making something, it's really important that it's comfortable when you're done.
Yeah.
And a sweater is really an investment of your time. And I'm starting to think about my wardrobe and things that are going to last. Yes. So if you like it, you're going to wear it. And then to me, that just gives it more value because you're going to wear it more often.
And go with things that are in your wardrobe too, because sometimes I can knit this crazy color that will not go with anything in my wardrobe, and then it never gets worn.
It doesn't get worn. I find that with a lot of my shawl projects too. Similar thing.
It's very easy to go crazy with shawls and then realize once you're finished, holy cow, where am I going to wear this? Even though it was fun to knit.
A great Instagram photo at the time.
It's all for Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. I am happy to be moving towards some natural yarns and trying out some different wools as well. So I think that's something that's changed over my knitting journey is I'm working with different materials too.
Yes.
I feel like sweater knitting has helped me along the way with that. Just trying different breeds of sheep and different blends of yarn. Mm-hmm. What about you guys? Share with us what experiences you're having in your sweater knitting. New or veteran sweater knitters. Let us know.
I have one far out dream knitting because I don't have yarn for it is the only reason I'm not knitting it right now.
Okay.
But this is one by Thea Coleman that just came out, Baby Cocktails. It's going to be her Rhinebeck sweater, and it's Cranberry Gose. We've talked about this one.
We have.
And I really want to knit it.
I love that sweater for you in particular because I can see you in a shirt like that underneath it, in some jeans, like rocking it. I think that's a great choice.
Yeah, I fell in love with it pretty much as soon as I saw it, but I don't have any DK weight.
Yes. Let the record show that I offered to send her some from my stash as a way to get through this stash thing quicker, selfishly. But I admire your restraint. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so hopefully I'll be knitting that someday soon.
I really like the style of that one because I feel like it's just like a regular person knit, right? It's not high fashion couture sweaters, which look great on some people, but not.
But again, once you wear it, like the next year, you might not want to wear it again. So it's good to keep it on the down low and keep it in the things that you're going to wear.
Keep it simple. Thea Coleman, I found, also has quite a good number of designs that I check out now and again.
Cozy shawl collared cardigans. Oh, she's queen.
She's the queen.
So this is one more thing that I have. It's Cascade Eco, and it's in the same color as the sweater I'm knitting right now. Otherwise,
close. Green.
I want to knit Wolf River by Melissa. I can't pronounce her last name. Dandelion Girl.
Melissa, I'm gonna look it up. Wolf Forever.
It's like Schaschwary or something like that.
Oh, Melissa Schaschwary.
There you go.
That's how I say it. Don't quote me on that, anybody. Melissa, I love your designs. We apologize if we're butchering your name.
I've tested it for Melissa before. She will forgive me for her name.
That's a beautiful green. I'm in love.
So Wolf River is her design that I have wanted to knit for a couple of years, and I've had this for a few years. And again, it's just a matter of getting around to knitting it.
Yeah.
But this is more of an open work one.
Okay. That's an Eco Plus is a plump yarn too.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the sweater in question.
Oh, nice.
Now,
the thing that catches my eye is all that texture.
Yes. The only thing about it is it's quite lacy. So for me, lacy means the wind blows through it, which means I'm always cold.
Yeah.
So it's kind of iffy. I would have to wear like a collared shirt or something underneath of it in the winter anyway. But yeah, that's my plan for that. And I would have to knit it quite a bit longer. I can't do the short sweaters either.
Almost cropped, like top hip.
Yeah, I can't do that. I've got too long of a body. If I bend over, it'll be up to my armpits. So.
Right. And then it's uncomfortable, and we know what happens then. It doesn't get worn. So for those who don't know, what's the content of that Eco Plus yarn? What is that?
100% Peruvian Highland wool.
Awesome.
This one does pill a bit, but if you have a sweater stone that your friend Marce might have bought you, you might
She'll be so happy if you get to use it. That's awesome. I love the color so much. I think the texture in that particular yarn is really going to show up.
Yes.
So that's dream knitting.
That's dream knitting. And again, I would be knitting that next, but I've already knit a green sweater, so I'm going to take a break from the green first.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
I love it. I love all this sweater talk. I can't wait to see what the rest of you out there are going to make or are making.
Yes. Please share that once I get the Ravelry group going. Yeah, please share all of your inspirations so that we can be inspired and run up our list for end of February when we need to buy yarn.
You know, if all works well, right, we'll have many years of sweater knitting to come. So thanks to the designers who've inspired us so far and the yarn makers, because I'm having a lot of fun with this.
Thank you for joining me, Marce.
It's my pleasure. What a fun way to get a swatch done.
Nothing.
It's all good. You have a colorwork yoke to keep you company. And I look forward to chatting with you soon, my dear.
Yes, thanks a lot.
See you guys. Bye.
enjoyed our little ramble about sweaters and things that we anticipate knitting and things that we are kind of farther off into the future that we don't have yarn and that ready for yet. Speaking of finishes and whips and sweaters, I have finished my Skogafjal. Oh my goodness. I'm glad I'm done knitting this so I can actually pronounce the name of the sweater that I'm actually knitting. This is a design by Diana Walla, and it is done in the colors that were called for in the pattern. I absolutely loved it from the get-go and knew I wanted to knit it exactly as the pattern. So it's knit in Let Lopey, and the gray is color 54, and the greens are 1406 and 1407. Now this is a yarn, it's from Iceland, and it's very economical. I don't know what it's like to purchase in other places, but I think here at my local yarn store it's only about $8 a ball. I needed I think 8 in total. Less than $50 for a sweater. Pretty good. So with this sweater, I knit it exactly to the pattern, except for the fact that I made it longer. Longer in the sleeves and longer in the body. Now this actually does go over my bum, and the thought was that I could wear it with leggings and boots. I kind of had plans of wearing this when we go to the camp too, because it's super warm. So it's actually my first Lopey, so I'm going to actually be able to test out how warm this is. I'm curious if the wind's going to blow through it, because with a lot of knits they do blow through, but I'm curious if this one, Lopey is very light when you knit it up, so I'm wondering if it's going to be windproof or not. So we shall see. I'm super excited about it, and I will post some pictures of me actually wearing it, because like I said, I was out just before this, and I was not going to take my warm sweater off to put another one on. This isn't actually, I blocked it last night, so just the sleeve, the end of the sleeves and the end of the body are still a bit damp. So I decided to forgo putting it on for now. But I'm happy with the finished product. One thing I will say though, I got a bit messed up when I was knitting the chart. Now, there was a piece of the chart that I have never seen before. They have the main chart, and then they have this little strip of a chart up the side, and it's just 1 stitch wide, and it's right beside the main chart, and it follows the dominant color. So instead of making, this is kind of hard to explain, but instead of making the chart change colors, the chart is all in just 2 colors. And then this little strip up the side tells you which the dominant color is going to be. So you have, once you get to this point, you have to know in your mind, or by looking at that little side chart, that you need to flip your yarns over and then start knitting the dominant one in your left hand. I didn't see that because I'd never seen that in a chart before, so I was just focusing on the main chart. So I didn't switch when I got to here, and so everything just looked the same coming up here. And then I realized there was this other part to the chart that I didn't even notice. So I had to rip back down, switch my colors to the dominant hand, which is always your left, and then continue knitting up, and then switch again when I got to this part. So it was kind of frustrating. I've never seen that in a pattern before, a colorwork pattern, but I guess it's something new and something I need to pay attention to. Other than that, yeah, it was a great knit. Pretty quick, and I'm very happy with it. Thanks for joining me this week. You will have noticed that I couldn't mash everything together. It just became too long of a podcast, so there will be a new podcast coming very shortly. Don't forget, in the meantime, to join the Knit Along, KnitanysweaterKAL, and that's in my group, the Celtic Cast-On group on Ravelry. I'd love to see your inspiration and what you're working on, or what you would like to start. So Marce and I will be over there chatting, so join in the fun. Thanks, and have a great week, everyone. Bye. Can you say bye-bye?
Bye.